Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Greg's coming to you on the 13th of October 2020 with bombshell breaking news that may cause a political earthquake, the likes of which have not been seen in this nation since 1861, the onset of the war between the states, aka not so civil war. Now, what we're talking about here is this following announcement, and this may or may not be true, but either way, the what may come of this may be just earth-shattering. The announcement is this, that Obama and Biden sent $152 billion to Iran to cover up the deaths of the SEAL Team 6 team members who actually are alleged to have killed Osama bin Laden. All this is alleged. But if this is true, this could be, well, there are many implications if it's true, and if it's not true, there's still implications. This is a big bombshell announcement of something that's to be coming out reportedly. Here's what happened. CIA whistleblower Alan Harold Perot, he announced, speaking to Charles Woods, who's the father of Tyrone Woods, who was killed in Benghazi, and this is all on the video. He announced this to him. He announced that this $152 billion indeed was sent by Biden and Obama to cover up the death of Osama. And we have too many similar names here that both rhyme and alliterate, which, you know, Green Greg is kind of likes that. But this is earth-shattering that even this would come out. Now, Greg, this can't possibly be true. I'm hearing this already. Well, according to Alan Harold Perot, there is video, there is audio, there are documents and signed documents, documents signed by John Brenner himself that are all to be released, that all claim and substantiate this. I'm talking, he says there is a bevy of documents coming, and that these documents are currently in the hands of a congressman here in the United States. And all this is about to be released. I think this is coming out this weekend. These reports might start breaking. So I'm getting this to you early. Now, you may say, yeah, that $152 billion was Iranian assets that was held in banks. It was this and that. Well, we do know also there was a lot of cash sent on pallets to Iran by an airplane. They're just straight out cash sent straight into Iran when all this stuff was going on. There were a lot of reports about that. It was reported it was this, it was that. Well, we're about to find out something, possibly. Now, again, I'm not saying, I'm not giving you the veracity of saying it is true, it's this, it's that. I'm telling you these reports are coming out. These are the allegations. And what does this mean? It means several things. It means that especially if it is true, you can bet the side that's with, you know, the big money like Soros and all these guys, they're going to pull out all stops. They're going to do everything they can to cause mayhem. They you know, rather than their people getting, look, this is treason. We're talking about treason of some of the biggest heads in America. We're potentially, if it's true, we're talking about an ex-president of the United States. We're talking about an ex-vice president who's currently running for president. And we're going to talk about the following. What happens if this doesn't really fully come out until after perhaps he gets elected president? What happens then? We're talking all kind of bombshells. We're talking about political strife. We're talking about the biggest potential wag the dogs that we've seen in the history of mankind. We're talking about things that could lead to WW3. I'm going to get more into that. We're talking about just tons of things, ramifications that could come out of this. Either way, just the fact that the allegations me up there may cause mayhem to begin. If they're true, if these things are true, the reports that I'm hearing, if they're true, they are treason at the highest level. It would include guys like, again, President Obama, Vice President Biden, Secretary of State and wife of former President Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, who was the first lady at one time, ran for president. It would include John Brennan, director of the CIA. And it might even include a lot of other people, perhaps even Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman of the Army, Milley. So there's a whole lot of heads, very powerful heads, and he's sitting. Milley is in power right now, as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs of the entire military. He's the top military man on the military side. You know, we have civilians over in the military with our uh, with our secretaries of defense and each department within, you know, Secretary of Army, Secretary of the Navy. But Miley is the top military man in America. And he was in power at that time. And there's a whole lot of things involved in this, from Benghazi to the Osama operation to money sent to Iran, the Iran weapons deal. This all gets tied together in a bowl of spaghetti that it seems to have soured real bad. So let's talk about this some more. It's again, it said that this money, this $152 billion was sent as a cover-up for the deaths of SEAL Team 6. It's claimed that SEAL Team 6 went in to take out Osama bin Laden, that Iran had him maintained in Pakistan, but they swapped him out for the double, it's according to these reports, and that we didn't get the real Osama bin Laden. Well, the administration was claiming this as one of the feathers in the cap for re-election, and they did away with the body by burial at sea. Now, I'm told, I'm not Muslim, but I'm told that Muslims are supposed to be buried in the ground with their heads pointing toward Mecca. So, and John Brennan, the head of the CIA, is Muslim, I'm told, and that he would not have allowed that himself if the body was real. If it was actually Osama bin Laden, I don't know. There's a lot of allegations here. I'm not telling you they are or not. You know, if it's true, Osama bin Laden might still be alive. Although it was also alleged that he had kidney problems, and some people said he was dead before all this stuff happened. I don't think that was the case, because they wouldn't have been staging this and had a body double there. But, you know, there's a whole lot of allegations here. It's a big bowl of spaghetti. And you go, say, Greg, none of this could possibly be true. I'm hearing this from a lot of you right now. You might be right, but it is claimed that there is audio, video, and signed documents that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that's true, and there's lots of them, and they're all coming out soon. This could be the biggest October surprise ever. And maybe it's not meant as an October surprise. Maybe the big October surprise is supposed to be Hillary's emails that Pompeo's just discovered. And that could have been a video in and of itself, which would be extremely damning, considering that we've had high officials taken out of office just because they had a handwritten note that was classified material on their desk. To have had tons of this stuff on servers, your private server at home. Whew, I don't know. There's a whole lot of smoking going on, my friends, and the times are getting interesting in the Chinese proverbial sense of may you live in interesting times, which is their ultimate curse, supposedly. Now, yeah, this is nuts. I mean, this is a ginormous ball of spaghetti here. What really went down, what it really is, maybe we'll find out real soon. So all this can be put to rest. But look, you talk treason. You're talking treason of some of the most powerful people in America, and treason. You know, we're talking people, a lot of very important people that should have been our heroes are now underground because of these activities. From Ambassador Ted Stevens, no, Ted Stevens, a senator, excuse me, from Ambassador Stevens, who was the ambassador to Libya, who was in the Benghazi operation, who no longer exists. We're talking because of that, and a lot of his staff there. We're talking SEAL Team 6. There's just a lot of strange things. Why did SEAL Team 6 get taken out just 3 months after that big operation? Yeah, strange stuff. So we're going to go all into this stuff. So what is alleged here is that the administration knew that they didn't take out Obama. They were afraid somebody from the SEAL Team 6 was going to rat on them. They had SEAL Team 6 fly in a Chinook helicopter over an area controlled by the Taliban. It was, really hotly contested, and they made sure that the plane got shot down. Hey, I don't know. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just telling you what the allegations are and how this can be a big bombshell. If it's true, though, it is. It was the biggest loss of life in the history of the SEAL Team 6. And it happened just 3 months after the Osama bin Laden operation to the very guys who were in that operation. Yeah, it is highly suspicious in many ways. It is something that someone could arrange to have happen if they had so chosen. Now, did they do that? I really hope not. Even though I just come out with a report saying, hey, we need to vote with a side. It's not going to put us under globalism and a global gulag and favoring the CCP and all of these kind of things. I just did a video on that yesterday. You need to check that video out. Now, all that said, so supposedly Iran knew all this. They knew this would take down any chance that Obama had to get reelected. Well, they were cash poor because they had been living under sanctions and they were negotiating a nuclear deal. So they put it up this way: says, look, we want this money. And even if it wasn't some of it their money, I don't know what the case was. It's alleged different ways. That some of it may have been their money, some of it may not have been. And why did they get all this cash on pallets on the aircraft? A lot of good questions revolving around this, but whatever the case was, supposedly they cut a deal with the Obama administration. Says, look, we got the dirt on you, and you're not going to get reelected if we release this. We know this. We know you took these guys out, and if you don't pay us, we're going to announce this, and you will never be elected. In fact, you'll all go to prison. So, what was it that was so important? It was so heinous that we would give a payout of $152 billion to Iran, if that's what it was, if that is what it was. Well, that's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. So that was the allegation that they held the Obama administration hostage. They asked for extortion money, according to Alan Harold Perot. And he's coming out with this. Apparently, according to him, there are video of administration officials. We're not talking about video of him talking. We're not talking about video. Supposedly, there is video of these people that allegedly committed these treasonous acts being talking. There's audio, there's video, and signed documents signed by none other than John Brennan. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't really trust that man for 2 cents. I've never had a lot of trust for that guy. I always figured that the way you could tell that he was lying, sure sign, his lips are moving. That's what I think about that man. So, my friends, let me show you some things. I'm going to share some screens here with you, show you some of this stuff. And oops, I'm sure you're already seeing this. Okay, good. All right. Here is one of the helicopters. This is an article about the Naval SEAL team getting taken out. And this was published on the 6th of August, the day after it happened. Apparently on the 5th of August, which was just 3 months after Osama bin Laden was allegedly killed on the, and that was supposed to have been 2 May 2011. You might remember some of us here in my area, we still have power outages. I heard about this over the radio because we had been hit by a big tornado through this area. Took out power all over North Alabama. We hadn't had it restored yet. So, this is breaking news. We felt like we ought to still be in the breaking news. To us, it felt, oh, y'all stole our news by this. Yeah, we were in a hard way here. But so the operations, I'll read from this side here. You can see the operations from SEAL Team 6 were flown by a crew from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. The same regiment that, it's interesting, the same regiment that flew them in is the regiment flying them. So it's not just the SEAL Team 6 guys that got taken, but it's also the guys that flew them into Pakistan. So this is like double weird. And here it says it's the largest single loss of life of the SEAL Team 6, also known as the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, in the unit's history. Wow. They did all these special operations. They went in all these crazy places, pulled off all these things, and succeeded. So they're just flying over an enemy territory and get taken out to this degree. Holy smoke, guys. Yeah, and at 1 a.m. that Saturday, there in the Taliban compound, the village of Jawi Mekzarin in the Tenji Valley. Excuse me if my Farsi or whatever the language spoken there is a little off. I don't know what the Afghans speak in that area. So that's that report. Here's what's interesting to me. I come in here to Wikipedia and look up SEAL Team 6, and what do I find about this? Even the history of it. Nothing. Zero. Goose eggs. Zip. The biggest story, perhaps, in the history of SEAL Team 6 is not recovered in the Wikipedia section on SEAL Team 6. Excuse me? Excuse me? Wow, that really sounds like cover up to me. As we know, the media seems to be complicit and liking to cover things up. That, to me, is atrocious. Why is that not covered? Of course, PolitiFact here is talking about some of the money that went to Iran, and there's all kind of allegations and back allegations, and there may have been other monies that weren't part of this allegation. I don't know, but $150 billion is hard to move without it being noticed. Gosh, you go to the bank and pull out $10,000, you're reported to the feds, even if it's your own money. Of course, we all know that, Christopher Stevens, I want to call him Ted Stevens. I lived in Alaska when Ted Stevens was senator up there, I believe. So, he was a long-term senator. I have to go back and double check that, but he was definitely a long-term senator for Alaska. And he actually got killed in a plane crash that had a former NASA administrator. Oh gosh, what's that guy's name? I met him, who's now serving in Louisiana as a dean. Oh well, I'm drawing blanks here. So yeah, the NASA guy survived, but Ted Stevens did not in a plane crash in Alaska. And I'm drawing blanket. It happens sometimes. Hey, I'm 6. Zeros don't count, right? So Christopher Stevens, he died in Benghazi, and it's alleged that we had assets that we could have mobilized, including a strike group out of Italy that could have got across the Mediterranean at the time, and there were other possibilities to rescue this guy, and they were stopped. They weren't permitted to operate. Stevens was begging for help. He had said this embassy they were at in Benghazi was not sufficiently guarded. They were begging for help, and it's alleged that there was help offered. That well, in part that there was military groups that said, "Hey, we can go there. Let's go," and then were told not to go. That's part of the allegations involving Benghazi. We lost a lot of people in Benghazi because of that. It's alleged further that Stevens and some others knew too much. It's alleged that we had and I'm saying alleged, it's alleged that we had some kind of deal running missiles through Libya, that we were using some of the groups there, in fact, the ones that were attacking, we were using some of the groups there in Libya to run missiles and armaments to Syrian groups that were fighting against Assad, the president of Syria. And this included groups that later became ISIS. And as many of you may recall, there's a photo of John McCain in Syria, and it's alleged that one of the people behind him in the photographs, sticking out of the buildings, and the door of the building was in fact al-Baghdadi. Now there are people say, "Oh no, it was not." Now I've had people argue that, but you look at the picture of that man, you look at the picture of al-Baghdadi. Wow, highly suspicious. Of course, you might know that nobody would claim that the liberal media are accessories to the Benghazi cover-up or any of this other stuff, right? And hey, they told us here all on the SEAL Team 6 site. Yeah, the history is very comprehensive. This is the history of SEAL Team 6. It doesn't include the biggest loss of life in their history. They just happen to be the guys that did the Osama bin Laden takeout. They don't even mention that. Holy smoke! How can that be that this little thing here is the history of this group? Wow. That is nothing. This site here, it seems to me to vindicate. You can go here, you can look at it. This seems to vindicate the claim way over here. Think about it. There's no free speech in this country anymore, thanks to certain platforms. They really want to put a slant on everything big time. Well, the good news, my friends, is guess what? I'm going to go in this morning. We're going to talk about the ramifications for prepping into all this. We're going to talk about what's going to happen if this stuff is true. or even if it's not true, we're going to talk about what may happen in the civil strife in this country. And I'm going to go into and tell you about the prospects of what happens if this is true and Biden gets elected president. And anybody, you may, well, they'll impeach him. Well, no. If the Congress is, if it just so happens the Congress is all Democrat, or even just the House remains Democrat, no, they will not impeach him. Other things will happen. We'll talk about that. I don't care if a Democratic Congress would not ever impeach Joe Biden unless they all thought they were going to lose their jobs for not doing it. So it's not likely, at least not at first. There's other things that are more likely. That's what we're going to talk about. And that scares me. We're talking about wag the dog. We're talking about, you better get ready. You better prepare for this stuff, because you don't need any of this as an excuse to prepare. We've already seen things going on this year. 2020 has been nuts. If you don't have it in your head that you need to get ready now, then your head's been in the sand, and I can't help you. But the proposition of my channel is help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And one of them here is a great deal. We have an awesome deal available to you right now through prepwithgreg.com. You see that forest behind me? That's okra. I used to rent a garden up in Taft, Tennessee, because my garden here wasn't big enough, because I had a whole lot going on and a whole lot growing on at one time. I had 2 gardens. I was an interstate garden operation. But that forest behind me, over my heads, is okra. And there's my log barn behind me. Prepwithgreg.com. Hey, right now we got a great deal. $100 off a 4-week supply of long-term storage food that could last you 25 years. My friends, that's hard to beat. For an individual, 4 weeks, 2,000 calories plus a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You get this and you'll be a winner, because the food is wonderful. It's a variety. It's not all the same stuff. And you get desserts and drinks to boot. I mean, right now the price is unbelievable, and it's going to be $100 off, but that part can go up. So you need to get it soon, because food prices are going up. I don't know how they're holding it this low or how long they'll be able to hold it low. Eating for a month, well, that much money, holy smoke, guys, that's a great deal. And you also have a 2-week emergency supply, which is a good deal too. If you can't handle this one, maybe you can handle that one. It's cheaper money-wise. But my friends, if you can, I'd get as many of these as you can while they're at this price. And they're in easy to carry buckets, 2 buckets. This stuff is dehydrated, so it's lightweight. And these buckets are easy to carry with these handles. It's easy to store. It lasts long term. And those buckets, guys, my friends, that's an awesome deal. You can't beat it. So we're going to move off that page, and we're going to look over here. See, it's even alleged that Osama bin Laden is alive by Taliban commander. Holy smoke. And this is a recent article. This came out, no, this is not so recent. That's 2007. Okay. I thought it said 2020. I saw an article somewhere that was talking 2020. All right. But there's still people that think that he may be alive. And so we're going to talk about what happens if let me stop sharing for a second. What happens if these things come out in full force in the middle of this election process? Some of the most powerful people in this country, and people that are connected to a lot of money, that are connected to a lot of groups, it seems, are going to pull out all the stops, because they will fear their heads will be swinging from a rope, or literally their heads will roll. This is, the punishment for treason at this level is, yeah, literally. And if these people are complicit, if they did these things, if these people had SEAL Team 6 off, if they had Ambassador Christopher Stevens, there I go, trying to get back to Senator Ted Stevens. I lived in Alaska, things like that stick on you, right? You get somebody like that offed, including all the other people in Benghazi, such as the son of Charles Woods, who's doing this interview with Alan Harapara. Excuse me. We lost a lot of people there. Tyrone Woods. We lost a lot of people in Benghazi. Good people. They didn't deserve this. These people did not deserve this. SEAL Team 6 should have been heroes. They went in, took great risk and chance to do what they thought was heroic, whether it was the real whether they had the real Osama bin Laden there or not. They thought they did when they went in. They took enormous risk going in. We lost a helicopter on that operation, and a lot of stealth technology that was available there got whisked from Pakistan straight to, guess who? China, the People's Republic of China, the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. And now they're building a stealth aircraft with the technology they were able to back engineer from that helicopter. And particularly with that helicopter, it was the sound suppression, so that we could fly silently. You know, that was a H-47, I believe. Anyway, it's the Apache, not Apache. It's the Black Hawk. Excuse me. It was a Black Hawk helicopter. The Apache, Apaches are attack helicopters. A is an attack designation typically, but when you're using it in combat, you know, so it'd be U if it's utility. Anyway, whatever. Won't go into all that. But it had the stealth technology on it that was in this. For this, the stealth technology is usually radar, and it probably had radar technology, but mainly for a helicopter, you want them to fly quieter. And so you kind of sneak up with a helicopter. Well, apparently that was part of the technology to make the helicopter fly a lot quieter. So we shall see what happened here. But okay, the ramifications. Like I said, all stops may be pulled out right now prior to the election. There could be the biggest riots you can imagine. And we're not talking protest, it would go to riot because would be trying to cause mayhem. They'd rather bring the house down than have their heads roll. If it meant bringing the whole country down and they run away, they'd be happy because they're looking at their lives. They're looking at a lot of powerful people being at grave risk. So they're going to pull out every stop they can. Now, all that said, or spending a life behind bars, all that said, and then, you know, they don't want to go there. They will do anything. Remember, a lot of these people are psychopaths. They don't care about us. They don't care about anything other than their little puny selves, their power, and their lives, their continuity. They don't care about anything else. When you're psychopathic, you don't have any empathy. That's what it means. Okay, sociopaths don't have empathy. The psychopaths are the ones who will really do the crazy stuff. So if this is true, and they did these things, they would be psychopathic. That's what I'm saying. Not quite yet saying they are psychopathic, but, you know, I fear for the congressman who has all this data, because if they know who he is, think about Whitewater. Whitewater was the case against Hillary Clinton dealing with supposedly land deals in Arkansas. It was so heinous that Ken Starr was supposedly appointed to investigate it, and he instead went around and went after Monica Lewinsky. He didn't want to touch Whitewater. He didn't. He skirted around and went after something completely different, which was, you know, pretty juvenile. This whole Monica Lewinsky deal. I did not smoke that. I did not have sex with that woman. It was my cigar. Anyway, my friends, that whole deal, Ken Starr didn't want anything to do with Whitewater. Why? Because there were numerous people that were set to testify for Whitewater. The day before they were to testify, they just committed suicide. Wow, the day before, one after another and after another, in strange, contorted ways too. You know, back of the head with a shotgun twice. You know, or, you know, it's just crazy. You know, these people had enormous superpowers in the way they committed suicide quite often. And there was a case that one though was off by a drive-by at a stoplight. Just random event, all totally coincidental. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you better be praying for this congressman if he has the real goods, whoever he is, and also Alan Pearl, the CIA whistleblower, because their lives are at risk if they are telling the truth. Their lives may be at risk if they're not, but it takes a lot to go out and make these kind of claims. And why would somebody, this whistleblower is living in the Mideast right now, why would somebody over there stick their neck out to do this if they weren't telling the truth or something? I don't know, my friends, but this is off the charts bad. crazy all around, whether it be true or not. But it's not just the campaign. It may be that this don't make enough light of the day. It's a fizzle. And by the way, it's going to be hard to activate all these any groups to do a major riot unless you have a big false flag event occur in this country that makes them mad. You got to make a lot of people mad to cause something like that to happen. You need a giant false flag operation in the United States within the next few days to pull that off. And even that may not fly. So that part of it could fizzle. I'm telling you, because the protests have probably done more damage to the causes of the protesters than anything that could have ever happened. You know, yeah, I said 2 wrongs don't make a right a long time ago. I've said a long time ago, everybody had the right to peaceably file their grievances with government to protest. But a lot of these did not have the appearance in the minds of many people to be peaceful protests. In the minds of some people, they were. But because I get people telling me, hey, Greg, I was there, it was peaceful. Hey, I wasn't one myself. That one was peaceful, except for a drunk that got arrested. No, I did go to one. I did a video. I did it live. I did a live stream video from one of those, as many of you may recall. So I think I did a follow-up video, and I did videos announcing leading up to this thing. And it was supposed to be, it wasn't near as big as they had made out like it would be. And I think that's in part because of the blowback of these activities. So that's ways on the side it won't happen. But if you got the big heads are about to roll, like I said, if they will find a way, they will cause mayhem. Now, all that may not add up. So what happens now? You know, we could have the case that Trump is elected. If Trump is elected and this stuff is true, he's going to prosecute it. If it's not true in the hearings, it should come out that it's not true, and these people, you know, shouldn't suffer from that. But then there's just a lot involved. It's not just money going to Iran. It's not just the SEAL Team 6. There's been Ghazi. There's a ton of stuff across the smorgasbord here. What all's been going on? What is the truth behind all these things? Well, all that should come out. And if people should go to jail for it, they should. If not, then not. But that's what hearings are for. That's why we have a trial process in this country. That is what it is for. Should people be brought to trial? Well, if you got the evidence on them, yes. If you got enough evidence to bring up a trial, then they should go to trial. They should be indicted and tried. Okay, all that said. What happens if Joe Biden did this? If it's undeniable, maybe he don't go to trial. Maybe these things don't happen. He wins the election, but this comes out really after the election's over. Maybe Trump's still president. Can Trump take action? Would Trump take action? Would Trump have would he have a president-elect arrested? I don't know. That would cause a constitutional crisis. What if he doesn't? What if he doesn't? What if he can't? What if it don't really come out enough until after Biden is sworn in? What if all this stuff is just on the precipice and it's just coming out right then? Well, you know, the news media, mainstream news media, is going to bury this in every way they can. True or not, they're going to bury it. They're going to bury it, and they're going. And the fact checkers, if it absolutely happened, and if you got video of Osama bin Laden, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden's, I did this, do that, with their own voices. If you got the video and it's true, they will still claim it's not true. I've seen a video of Osama bin Laden that fact checkers on Facebook claimed was fake. And the only thing in that video, the video didn't say it was this, it was that. There was no commentary. It was simply Obama talking. And the fact checkers claimed it was not true. That's what I'm saying. They will bury this. They will bury it. And all the fact checkers, well, absolutely. If you got money in hand, you got signed documents, video, audio, absolute proof, they will claim it's not true. Absolutely. They will. So do not believe the fact checkers, the so-called fact checkers. I don't believe them, because I've seen, and I'm personally know of things that they've claimed is not true that are true. So it's all political. absolutely 100% political to one certain side. 100%, no doubt about it. Now, this video will probably claim that just because I made that statement. But go find the exceptions. Okay. All right. What happens though? I still got to get there. What happens if Joe Biden is sworn in as president? He's president. You're not going to take him down then unless you impeach him. Well, the chances are still pretty high that the House will remain Democrat. The Democratic House is not going to impeach a sitting president unless there is so much heat on them that they realize they're all about to get fired from the public. Then they might, for their own political security, go after him. But they will be trying to find every way they can to cover it up or to lessen it or to do something. What happens if the Senate is Democratic? Well, if it flips, are they going, it's one thing to impeach somebody, but you've got to also prosecute him. Obama, we had Clinton impeached. We had, let's see, President Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was impeached. We had President Clinton impeached. We had President Trump got impeached, but the Senate would not go along and convict in any of these cases. So to remove the president, you got to have a Senate to convict. So you got to have a House impeach and Senate convict. So they would both have to be Democratic, Republican to prosecute that. So I mean, if the House flipped and if the Senate flipped, then Biden might get impeached. I say might, if it were true. Now, if there isn't the means to impeach him, or if the means are problematic, as in it's going to take a few years because this House is afraid of their own careers, the heat of the controversy would be so much. The people would be furious with the Congress, with the House. The heat would be to the point that you'd almost have an uprising here in the United States. The people would be furious. They would be mad. If this gets out and we got a sitting president in Congress that won't do anything about it, the people in this country will be livid. Livid. The government will not be able to govern. It will be so bad. That is when you've got to really worry, because that's when the people in power will do things to maintain their power. They will try every way possible to distract the public, and they will commit false flags and wag the dog. The ultimate wag the dog might even be a war with Russia. We know that Biden administration, Biden and Hillary Clinton together in the past have not been so friendly to Russia. That we know the Democrats attacked Russia. Donald Trump colluded with Russia. They're very friendly to China. And China would love nothing better than the United States to get into it with Russia, because that means that we both get taken down and the world's Chinese. And China can have Siberia and Europe and everything else they want. They would dominate the earth absolutely if the United States and Russia went, whatever was left of it. Now, maybe they try to figure out a way to have a war that wasn't full scale, full tilt on the nuclear scale of the index. I don't know. Just a couple of EMPs. We EMP them, they EMP us. We all die and our countries are run anyway. And maybe that's all it takes, that and some conventional action. And China would be thrilled, and the people who are worried about their power would have a place to go and hide out and wouldn't be tried. I don't know. This is all wild speculation. But people in power, especially if they're psychopathic, will do anything to maintain their power or at least retain their lives. They don't want to be tried for these kind of heinous acts. And these are heinous acts we're talking about. Guys, I didn't have time to do this video today. I got taxes to work on. I'm way behind on it, but this was such a huge thing when I heard about it. Oh my gosh, why do I got to find out about this now? I got to tell my people, because this could be a huge driver for prepping. I mean, Greg, why are you talking all this? I'm sure just me reporting this is going to make some of my followers furious. If I got followers on both sides of the spectrum, because I cover gardening and worm raising, and that's not a political thing at all. Gardening and worm raising have people that are both conservative and liberal that follow that. And because both the people on both sides of the spectrum know that we need good, wholesome food, organic food. They know that worms are important for organic gardens. I typically sell worms. I've had to stop it for a time period, and maybe next spring before I restart the sales. I can go into that later. But It's a risk to me to report stuff like this, but I also cover prepping. And I tell my followers that the proposition of my channels help you keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. That's what you need to do. But I said the proposition of my channels help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. Well, we could get put into the hive big time as a result of this. And we could also find ourselves at great peril to stay alive, because we could have a lot of civil strife. This could really ratchet up the tensions for a not so civil war here within the United States, or wars external. Maybe even they would trigger China to hit us. I don't know what would happen uh, under a situation like this. There might be an under the table wink, wink, wink agreement between somebody who wants to wag the dog on this side and say China. So if they're in cahoots with China, say, okay, look, we'll have a little event. We'll do a little false flag, and we'll do something. You get mad and you EMP us, and we'll come over and live in all those abandoned cities you got in Western China. I don't know. That's wild, wild, wild speculation. I admit that. I'm just saying, here's what the tendencies would be: finding some way to wag the dog. I don't know what the wag the dog would be, but it would have to be very big. It might be economic. It might be a pandemic #2, something that they would just totally lock the country down. They would have to have something huge, but it wouldn't be the one we got. It would have to be something that's really awful, virulent. There's already rumors of that. There would have to be something horrible to cause the kind of wag the dog, shut all that down that they would want to have. It might be all the above, maybe just they would let the economy completely go zip, which they're talking about the great global reset anyway. Or maybe they would transfer, that they would accelerate the transference of power to the globalist system, and the United States wouldn't even be a country anymore. What does it mean? What would happen if big if, and it takes several ifs in a row, if Biden gets reelected, and if Biden is guilty, and if that's apparently evident to the bulk of the American people? If these three conditions are true, Biden gets reelected, he is guilty, and the people know it. And there may be another if, Congress won't do anything about it. These are plausible ifs. That's a lot of things, holes in the Swiss cheese would have to line up. But the biggest catastrophes that have ever happened in this country have been when a lot of holes lined up in the Swiss cheese. You got different layers of Swiss cheese, and all the holes line up, the bad stuff can get through. So there you are, my friends. I'm not saying these things are going to happen. I am not saying that the allegations are true. I'm just saying what it might mean for me and you. Even the allegations being out there may be enough to really ratchet up political tensions or cause wag the dogs later, even if it's not true. So, okay, let's say all these don't. Okay. What if Biden is elected and they're not true, but everybody thinks it's true? Same effect. Unless they can conclusively prove it's not true. But if everybody thinks it's true, perception is reality to people. Perception to people is reality. It's whatever they're believing in their rose-colored glasses. And today in this country, we have been so divided politically, and each side has built up their worldview. They interpret all the new information they see according to the filters of the worldview they have. And that's the tint through which they see things. The rose-colored glasses they wear are established by the worldview they have. A lesson taught to me by Sergeant Spivey when I was in primary leadership class at Fort Richardson, Alaska, back in 1982. So Sergeant Spivey was a brilliant man, a good military instructor. He taught me a lot of good stuff. And I know the worldview philosophy's been out that way, but he was a really good communicator and teacher of it. He was a black man, really smart, sharp black man. I have the most respect for Sergeant Spivey. Oh, yeah, you don't resort typically. You don't salute NCOs. He was an NCO, and I was, enlisted myself. But I'm just showing a gesture of respect. I'm assuming he's long retired. But rose-colored glasses is how people interpret things. And it's based on the worldview they have, and these worldviews have been greatly divided. And in division, there's not much gulf between them. So each side is going to see this differently, no matter what information's out there, no matter what the facts are. And the news media is going to accentuate, our social media feed stuff to people already according to what they're already thinking and searching for. So it just further divides people. People are further and further divided. So it's hard to get everybody on board with the same thing, be it true or not in this country. And that in itself is a recipe for social division. We've got to find a way to come to more common levels of understanding in this country. Yeah. So I've covered a lot here. I've gone very long with this, but this is a bombshell. This is huge. Oh yeah, I'm going to show you one other thing, a couple other things here. I want you to know there's another video out here on this that you really ought to look at. And oh yeah, this is it. You know what? We know that Russia already had a lot of tension with Hillary Clinton. She had even it's alleged that Putin had claimed that if she had won the election, they would commit a first strike on the United States of America. How would they feel about Biden? How would they feel if they think Biden's going to do a false flag against them? Would they do something like that? Hey, that's another part of speculation. But there is a video in which this interview is shown. It's on, well, if it'll come up, come on. This is just not wanting to run today. Anyways, breaking news. All right, here we are. There's a video here. I'm going to share a link to this video. This is this picture here. Oh my gosh, this stuff just didn't want to work. That is the CIA whistleblower, Alan Perot. It's not spelled the same as Ross Perot. It's pronounced Perot, but his name is spelled like Parrot, P-A-R-O-T. I don't want to call him Parrot, but he's apparently they pronounce it Perot. I don't want the video to come in from this. I'm going to shut this off. All right. Oh, I hate it. Had to go to an ad when we know how these things are. But this is with the Next News Network. Next News Network. I'm going to shut that off. We're going to stop the share. So I was just trying to play a video. I'm trying to play an ad on us. All right. I'll put a link to that video on there. It has an interview. The interview between Charles Woods and the CIA whistleblower. My friends, we're in uncertain times. We're in uncertain territory. Civil strife in this country is too much. I hope we can bring it down. I ask everyone to pray and reach across the aisle. I did a video about rose-colored glasses. I said, hey, try to put on the rose-colored glasses of the other side. Try to see things as they see them and reach across the aisle and try to make peace with them. At least try to come to an understanding and talk with them based on how you perceive that they understand things. You know, you will never get them to agree with you by arguing from your worldview. Neither side will win over the other by arguing from their own worldview. You can only do it if you can view things as they view it. And if both sides could start doing this and reaching across, we could start building this country back together. And that's what we need to do. And we need to pray for that and reach out and try to do that. That's the things that we need to do. But we also need to stop those that would take us down the road of globalism. Globalism is tyranny. It's the worst tyranny you can possibly imagine. I just did a video on that yesterday. So, and another thing that I worry about in the road to globalism, our freedoms are being taken from us. I have set up a group called the the Freedom Restoration Foundation. I'm also a member of the Space Frontier Foundation, the Freedom Restoration Foundation. And you can go, we have a site on Facebook, which will be here. We're going to set up a website, but in the meantime, because the Facebook can just disappear because we're putting stuff out there that may be somewhat less than popular with that platform, you can email me at hal5space@aol.com. All the links are in there, and that's how you actually get on the list for our group. So now, so I know that you watched it this far. Say, Greg, I get the point. Greg, what is that? Well, this is a little below dark. I do a lot of videos on my channel, including things like silent hunting. And that is way back. You have to really hunt to find that video. But I'm getting close to 400 videos on my channel. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and bang the update notification bell. click all so you get all the notifications, and then come back and check maybe once or twice a week, make sure you're actually getting the notifications, because algorithms do not like some of us that tell you things that I tell you. The algorithms seem somewhat less than favorable because, well, I just love us so much. All right, my friends, I've gone long. Just know that there's a lot of stuff that says that you need to get yourself ready. You and your family to prep, to get the food, the supplies. There's a lot of other supplies you're going to need. And mostly get right with your maker. Pray. Be centered, but don't ever panic, because panic only leads to irrational behavior. So my friends, with all that said, I'm going to say thank you for watching.